I didn't care more than words can say.
I love you, Jimmy.
You're my girl. What is it, like 4 in the morning?
Hello?
You're gonna die. Hi, welcome to Horror vs. Reality. I'm Anastasia, Miss Anna if you're nasty. This is Morgan.
I'm Nasty Morgan.
And our guests today are the Blood Booze. Oh my god, my brain just broke. Blood Guts and Booze podcast. And their names are Kendra and Olivia. Welcome, guys.
Hello, hello.
Hi, how are you?
We are excellent. Just doing
Welcome,
excellent. Yes. Okay, so today's episode is The Strangers from 2008 versus the Ketty Kevin murders. Yay!
Woohoo.
All right, so this is directed by Brian Bertino, and the cast is actually, well, I mean, one person is extremely well known, and everybody else is kind of sort of well known. So Scott Speedman as James. Scott's probably most well known for J.J. Abrams' TV show Felicity. He played Ben Covington, who the title character followed to college despite basically not knowing the guy at all. You may also recognize him from the TV series Animal Kingdom or Underworld Evolution. It also is reported that he will be in nearly every episode of season 3 of Netflix's You.
Oh,
Ooh.
Oh.
interesting.
Yeah,
Oh, there's a
which
third
that
one
that show got off the rails real fast though.
coming?
Like
I
that
really
show's
liked it.
it's fun, but it's so batshit and soapy now that I'm like, I don't even know if I want to watch further.
Yeah, I heard
makes
some
me-
like sneak peek stuff. It was like, what?
Yeah, it makes me cringe a little bit too. A lot of it makes me cringe.
Season
And
1 wasn't bad.
No, season 1 wasn't bad, but season 2
why
really
I-
goes off the rails.
Was that Kendra? Kendra, I didn't
Yeah.
hear it.
So,
I'm not sure what she said.
Oh, I didn't say anything. I just breathed.
oh.
Oh, okay. All right.
Sorry, I'll stop doing that.
So, good. Okay, so
Yeah,
Liv,
I'll just stop that.
Breathing.
Liv Tyler as Kristen. I feel like Liv Tyler is so famous, I shouldn't even have to explain her. But I realize that Gen Z and younger may have no idea who the fuck she is. So, Liv
She
Tyler.
did it.
Huh?
I had no idea who she was.
Oh, cool. Well,
Really?
I'm telling you who she is then.
She
Okay,
is
so-
a babe. Just saying.
She is
She's
a total babe.
She's a terrible, terrible actress. I'm sorry.
My
Movie.
boyfriend Mark wholeheartedly agrees with you.
Excellent.
I had never really thought about her acting that much, to be honest. And then I was talking about, her being a known name. He's like, yeah, but she's a terrible actress.
She was Arwen.
She was.
Mm.
She's Arwen in Lord of the Rings,
Yeah, Lord of the Rings.
which is what I was going to say. She's in all three, the whole Lord of the Rings trilogy. She's also known for Empire Records. Her father is Steven Tyler of Aerosmith. Like, she's pretty fucking famous. She was
Yeah,
also...
and that weird video, the music video Do you remember that? With her and Alicia Silverstone?
Yes, it was the one for Crying, I believe.
Yeah, it was kind of weird because it was like it's sexual and like her dad was
She's like
definitely on the
stripping in her
set.
dad's music video.
Yeah, she's like stripping and she's what was she like 16 at that point?
Oh,
I think,
no.
I don't think she was that young, but she was pretty young.
She was like
I think she was
barely
maybe
fucking
7.
legal.
I think she was like maybe 17 or 18. I'm not sure. She was pretty young though, for sure. She was also Betty Ross and the Incredible Hulk. For
What?
reference, that's the Good Hulk movie with Ed Norton, not the bad one directed by Ang Lee. Anyway, she's
What'd you say? Betty who?
Ross, I think.
The one who made the flag?
No, I think her name's just the same.
Oh.
No. The Incredible Hulk's girlfriend is not the same person that made the flag.
I mean, I didn't know.
Well, I know, but you said
weird
that.
time jumping.
No.
Is that even her fucking name? Who made the flag?
I don't know, man. I think
we're
it is better.
bad.
I don't know.
We're bad Americans.
We are bad Americans. I'm sorry.
Like drill that into our head. Like every time everything will pop up, Betty Ross is like Elizabeth Ross is a fictional character. Maybe her name wasn't fucking Betty Ross.
Okay, it's something Ross, I think.
Sorry.
Right? Isn't it? I don't know.
I hope so.
Anyway, okay, so Liv Tyler's got a long biography. Google her if you want to. So Glenn Howerton as Mike. Now, Glenn is most well known for It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, fucking Dennis.
Yes, he plays Dennis Reynolds, who is a borderline sexual predator, perpetual narcissist, and part bar owner with his 2 best friends and father, Frank Reynolds, played by Danny DeVito. Now, the show's hysterical. There's like 15 seasons. I think it's been renewed for several more. There are probably thousands of GIFs from this show and several memes. He's got a pretty good
writer.
He's one of them, yeah. Yeah, they're all writers, I think, except for
They're
like
all
D.
writers and producers.
Yeah, except for D.
Really? I thought she wrote some.
I don't think so.
Mm.
I don't think so. I think it's just Charlie and Rickety Cricket, and yeah, Rickety Cricket's one of the writers.
I forgot he was in this.
Glenn Howerton. I mean, he's a really small role. He's like there and gone, but
Yeah, it's like 5 minutes he's in the movie.
yeah, it's a super small part. But
Fucking
I mean,
spoilers, guys.
I mean, our
I
whole
know,
show is a giant spoiler. Okay, so he's also got a pretty good show on Peacock called AP Bio, where he is a disgraced former Harvard philosophy professor turned AP biology teacher. And it's basically what it would be like if Dennis from It's Always Sunny was a lot smarter, better educated, and had a little bit of a conscience. Gemma Ward as Dollface. Gemma is an Australian supermodel with a few acting credits. Interestingly, she plays a mermaid named Tamara in Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. It's funny that her name is Tamara in that, because in The Strangers, that's who she asks for when she knocks on the door.
Oh, she does.
And she goes, "Is Tamara there?" And her character in Pirates of the Caribbean is named Tamara, so that's funny.
Did they throw it back?
I don't know. Maybe. So she dated Heath Ledger right before he died. They spent Christmas together in their home city of Perth a month before he OD'd.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Kip Weeks as Bagface. He's not actually credited that. He's just called the Man in the Mask. But he's wearing like a burlap sack as a mask, which is a throwback to The Town That Dreaded Sundown, which we will definitely cover at some point. But I'm just calling him Bagface because I'm just, putting a nose on a nose. But yeah.
Like a walking, talking scarecrow.
Yeah, man. Except he doesn't have a single line in the whole movie. He doesn't say a word. Weeks hasn't really been in much in particular that's notable, to me anyway. He did this one show called Ragged Island that was made entirely by people from Maine, filmed in Maine, about Maine, Maine cast, Maine crew. However, it never made it to a streaming service or a proper network and was only available to view on a small entertainment website called SFN. And after season 1, it was only available on its own website, thus hindering it from ever having any chance of becoming a hit show.
Damn, poor guy.
Yeah, I know, right? And then there's Laura Margulies as Pinup Girl. And Margulies is most notable for playing Daisy on the American ABC drama Dirty Sexy Money. And then Alex Fisher as Mormon Boy Number 1, and Peter Clayton Luce as Mormon Boy Number 2. Okay, so the film opens to James, Scott Speedman, and Kristen, Liv Tyler, arriving to James' parents' vacation home after a friend's wedding. A flashback to the parking lot of the reception venue reveals that James has just proposed to Kristen, but not ready, she's turned him down. Tension hanging in the air, James cancels Kristen and his planned road trip before calling his buddy Mike to pick him up in the morning. They aren't broken up, but they clearly need a little space from each other.
Yeah, that was awkward.
It's super awkward. You're like, I feel like I'm seeing something I shouldn't be seeing. Can I, like, leave the room?
No.
Yeah. Awkward. Okay, so shortly after 4 a.m., there's a loud knock at the door, and a young blonde woman, Gemma Ward, whose face is obscured by purposefully poor lighting, asks the couple, "Is Tamara home?" But is turned away by James, because there is no Tamara, and as far as he's concerned, there never has been at this house. Is it just me, or is Tamara like a terrible name? It sounds like the southern drawl way of saying tomorrow.
Yeah.
See, it makes me think of the spice tamarind.
Oh, that's fair too, yeah. Yeah.
It's a very random name to pick. Like, it's
Yeah.
you don't hear it often.
Yeah, like not Ashley or something, like something really normal.
Because they probably wanted them to say, no, she's not here. So they couldn't pick a name that they might have.
Oh, that's a good point. That's an excellent point. Pick a strange name that it'd be crazy if someone was named there that. Yeah. All right.
Is Agnes home?
Well, yes, she is. She's out playing bingo. We love our elderly community. Okay, so James offers to go get Kristen some smokes and take a little drive to clear his head, but before he leaves, he insists on making a fire for her. Kristen realizes that the chimney flue is closed and attempts to open it, smoke billowing into the room.
Mistake, sorry.
I know, absolutely. Smoke billowing into the room, triggering the smoke alarm. Now, Kristen attempts to disarm the alarm, but she is startled by another knock at the door and drops the alarm on the floor. She's a little freaked out, so she calls James' cell phone from the landline. James comforts her, and she begs him to stay on the line, but their call gets cut short.
Which is never a good sign.
No, it's a bad sign. Absolutely. Bad omen.
And I will say, at this point, if I was her, I would have ran and immediately got my cell phone.
Absolutely.
She doesn't fucking do that.
If I'm being honest, if I'm in a weird place in the middle of nowhere, like my boyfriend's parents' vacation home, I'm having my cell phone on me. I don't even look at it all.
And I would have it charged.
Absolutely.
Right.
In the middle of fucking nowhere, you know, the power probably goes out a lot.
Because she was charging it during this scene.
She was charging it during the scene. That is true.
She
was attempting to be more proactive. And she was at a wedding all night, so it drained while she was at the wedding. I guess.
But me, I would have plugged it in when I got home.
Yeah, right?
Did she not plug it right when she got home? Oh, okay.
No, not until after he left.
So that was, you're right. That's her fatal mistake. Okay.
There were a lot of fatal mistakes.
There's a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of things you couldn't do. I don't know. We'll get into it. Okay, so She tries to stay on the line, but then the line gets cut short. The call gets cut short. She returns to the kitchen where, unbeknownst to her, a masked man watches her, lingering in the adjacent hallway. Again, we will refer to this masked man as Bagface, even though in the credits he's listed as Man in the Mask. But that's lame.
Old Bagface.
Yeah, Bagface. So, Kristen notices the smoke alarm she left on the floor is now sitting on a chair and realizes someone else has been in the house.
Yeah.
Upon going to retrieve her cell phone from the charger, she finds it's vanished.
She should have fucking had it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a huge batch of kittens, by the way, because nobody wants that.
Hey, I love kittens.
Me too. We all own cats. We all own 2 cats. Okay, so she's panicked. She hears a noise from the backyard. She arms herself with a knife. And just when she opens the curtain to investigate, she finds herself face to face with Bagface with just a pane of glass between them. She screams, stumbles into the hallway, and watches as the front door is forced ajar. Kristen pushes the door closed and glimpses the blonde woman, now in the doll-like mask, peering inside. After locking the door, Kristen hides in the bedroom, where she hears a loud crash just before James returns. After she explains what has happened, he goes outside to the car to retrieve his phone, only to discover that it has been ransacked and vandalized. He looks up... I mean, it has been.
I know, I'm so mad.
He looks up to see Dollface staring at him from afar, like in the middle of the street. Frightened, the couple attempt to leave in James's car, but are thwarted by another masked woman when she rear-ends them in a pickup truck, forcing them to flee. Back inside the house, Kristen and James find James's dad's shotgun and wait for the intruders in a bedroom. Mike, Glenn Howerton, arrives early to be there for James, because he's a bro.
Okay, hey.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if anybody else caught this, but when he gets that gun off of the top shelf, it's a completely different gun later.
Oh, yeah, no, I caught that.
Yeah, it was like a 22, and Andrew and I were like, that's not going to do anything, and why does he have fucking shotgun shells? And then in the next scene, he's actually got a shotgun.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'm glad you caught that.
I don't know guns, so I really didn't notice.
There's a huge size difference for one.
Yeah, it's like a massive size difference in the barrel and in the gun itself. Like, it's a little 22, like, pea shooter.
Yeah, like...
Yeah, it's small. And then the next one is, like, a freaking 12-gauge shotgun.
Yeah, pretty big difference. But if you don't know your guns, you don't know your guns. What?
It goes to show that you Americans know your guns better than us Canadians.
Yeah, when we come out of the womb, we are
bit.
armed with a pistol and given an American flag.
We are armed with maple syrup in hand.
Oh, we have maple syrup right here.
In maple syrup.
That's how we shed our skin.
Yeah. There's a big maple syrup pond. That's where we all come out of.
Yeah, it's just like the amniotic fluid's actually maple syrup.
That's exactly what it is.
When you shed your skin, is it really just ketchup chips?
I love ketchup.
Yes.
What would ours be?
So good.
Like Big Mac sauce?
No, because they have that there too. We were actually talking about Big Mac sauce the other day.
Yeah, a McKendra. Best thing ever. It's disgustingly delicious.
It's basically a
so
Mac
badly
gangbang with French fries. Yeah, and sometimes Mac sauce, according to them.
I'm a Mac sauce fanatic.
What is Mac sauce? Is that just cheese?
No, it's the sauce on a Big Mac.
We just said that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I zoned out. I was thinking of mac and cheese.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. No, our skin. What would it be? What? Morgan?
What? I didn't say anything. I think that was Kendra.
Kendra, what were you trying to say?
Nope, all of you are just like keep going radio silent on me.
Oh no!
What?
Radio silence?
Is she gone?
No, I can hear you guys.
Oh no. What would our skin be? What would we shed?
Oh. I don't know. Potato skins, maybe? Like from TGI Fridays.
Just bacon grease.
Or grits, I don't know. Because we're from the South.
Yeah, that'd be the South. But like the whole nation as a whole.
The whole nations. I'm gonna stick with potato skins.
Yeah, I think probably potatoes.
Apple pie.
Oh.
Ah,
Like the
yeah.
flakiness of the apple pie. That's a good call. That's a good
I was
call.
thinking-
Now,
I heard it was a traditional American thing. I mean, we have apple pie here too, but
I mean,
yeah, it's a thing.
it's just a saying, like American is apple pie, but like I don't really eat apple pie very often at all.
I made an apple pie from scratch. It took me like fucking 16 hours.
Oh yeah, they take a long time completely from scratch.
I was just
Absolutely.
like, God damn it, I wanted an apple pie, and like I didn't know it was this hard. Like the whole process took, I swear, like 16 hours. I was like, I'm never doing this again, ever.
Jesus. Okay.
Like, if people stole pies out of my window, like in the cartoons, like back in the day, I would probably murder someone. Like, it took me fucking 16 hours.
I would also kill someone. Absolutely.
Like, now I understand why the women are like running out of the house with a frying pan, and they're like, "Oh, it's just a pie, lady, crazy." Like, no, that's 16 hours of your life trapped in a house.
Are you an a la mode kind of gal, or do you like the slice of cheddar?
What the fuck? Who puts cheddar on their pie?
a lot of
Northerners,
people.
Northerners,
What?
and apparently Canadians too.
We do not. That's disgusting.
Okay.
I
Maybe.
used to work in a coffee shop, and we would sell apple pie, and we would have all the senior citizens come in for an apple pie slice with cheddar cheese on top instead of ice cream, because apparently I think my mom said it was like a substitute.
Oh, when there was
Back
like a
in the
dairy
day.
shortage.
Or like if you couldn't afford ice cream, you'd put like a slice of cheese on top.
I'm on a diet. I'm gonna have cheese instead.
No,
But I mean,
I'll
like,
pass on the
apples-
ice cream.
But like apples and brie is really good, so I could kind of see it.
Apples and cheddar is really good, actually.
Well, exactly.
So I mean, I don't think it's too strange. I've never actually tried it because I love a slice with a scoop of like vanilla bean ice cream because that's the tits.
Oh,
But
yeah.
absolutely. Okay, so getting back to this before we get too apple pie distracted. So they're back inside with the shotgun and everything. Glenn arrives early because, like I said, he's a bro, and he realizes something is wrong instantly after seeing James's vandalized car, and
Dial 911. I'm sorry.
yeah, a fucking rock is thrown right through the center of his windshield, and he's like, "What the fuck?" I don't know
there's
why
a
he
truck
didn't dial
here. Whose
911 right then.
Yeah, don't go inside. Dial 911. You're gonna get your prints everywhere. Why would you walk inside? There may be a killer. I'm sorry, Anna. If I came upon your house and it was like broken into, and there's like a wreck out front, I don't know if I'd go inside.
Don't
to
save
find
me. I don't want you to get arrested for my murder. I'd be so upset.
Yeah, I think I would stay outside, keep my prints outside, and call 911.
Yeah, good call. Good call. Don't be a hero.
Yeah, no. I mean, I love you, and I would save you,
If you-
anytime. But,
Sure.
like,
Right back at you.
you don't go back into the house when it's a murder movie.
Nah. They don't know they're in a horror movie. That's the problem.
Sure. I guess they didn't break the fourth wall.
Yeah. So Mike enters the house, and James, mistaking him for one of the intruders, shoots him dead. James is understandably fucking devastated. He pushes Kristen out of the way because he just doesn't want her to see, but she sees anyway. They're both freaked out. James remembers that there is an old radio transmitter in a barn on the property. So he sneaks out and encounters the other masked woman in a pinup girl style mask, searching in the backyard with a flashlight. James attempts to shoot her, but Bagface ambushes him, knocks him unconscious, and inadvertently fires the rifle. Kristen, hearing the shot, runs to the barn. She finds the radio and actually manages to make contact, just as Pinup Mask smashes it with an axe.
I like how she finds every light source. Sorry.
Yeah.
Did you also say run? Because I thought it was pretty entertaining. She was crawling on her hands and knees because her foot was twisted.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, my hubby kept commenting on that too. He's like, why doesn't this bitch just get up and go? And I'm like, because her ankle is hurt. And then as soon as she tripped and fell, I was like, there it is. And he's like, what? I'm like, typical falling from a girl in a horror movie.
I know whenever we were like, run, and like Andrew was dying out laughing anyway, and then when she hit that fucking ditch real hard, we lost it. I had to pause it for a second. We were like laughing so hard. And like the next scene, we were like, oh my God, her face is going to be so fucked up. And it was just her ankle. We're like, dude, she hit her face. We rewound it like 3 times to watch her hit the ditch. I'm pretty sure that the person who did this stunt broke their nose. Like, they go fucking head first into that ditch.
Fuck. Oh, I don't know if the stunt woman broke her nose or not, but
I don't know.
anyway. So
We're laughing. So
Kristen retreats back to the house where she encounters Dollface, who taunts her with a knife. Kristen then flees, only to be incapacitated by Bagface. At dawn, the couple awakens to find themselves tied to chairs in the living room, with the 3 assailants standing before them. Kristen attempts to reason with the strangers before demanding, "Why are you doing this to us?" To which Dollface replies, "Because you were home." The
yeah, that part
strangers...
was freaky.
Yeah. That was like their tagline, too, for the film. Because you
Yeah.
were home. The strangers unmask themselves to Kristen and James, which we all know is the kiss of death, because if you see their face, they're not planning on keeping you alive.
Yeah.
They take turns stabbing Kristen and James in the chest and abdomen. Afterwards, the strangers drive away in their truck and come across 2 young Mormon boys on bicycles, distributing LDS pamphlets.
I didn't notice it was LDS, and that's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, a big sign of that would be that,
A white shirt and black pants too.
yeah, and they're riding bicycles. They're riding bicycles dressed exactly alike in the white shirts, black pants. Those are Mormons every time.
Yeah. I used to like see them in Jackson all the time. And I'd roll down my window and like be driving by and like, 4-lane highway. I'd be like, Mormons! And they'd always like turn around and wave and like, hi! I'm like, yes!
Man, every time I see them like approaching my house, I just shut off all the lights and like lock the doors. I'm not home.
I don't know if I told you about when, I dated this guy in high school who had a giant mohawk, and we like stayed up all night partying at my friend's house, and it was like 6:30 on a Saturday, like 6:30 in the morning on a Saturday morning or Sunday morning. They came by the house and kept knocking, and he woke up and he had he had his chest tattooed with like angels, and he was 6'4" and had a mohawk, but he had been sleeping, so it was sideways. And I think it was purple at the time. And he like ripped open the door and was like, what? And I was looking out the window, and it's like these 2 older women who were actually Mormons. I didn't know older women did that. But they were like, we just wanted to give you these pamphlets. And then they like run away.
That sounds more like a Jehovah's Witness than a Mormon.
Oh, yeah, they were Jehovah's Witness. completely
Mormons
different, but
do that too.
Yeah, they're equally annoying.
Yes, they just dress differently and have different doctrine.
Yeah, they ran away. It was so funny.
Oh my god, it's hilarious. Okay, so Dollface gets out of the truck and asks if she can have a pamphlet. And one of the boys asks her, "Are you a sinner?" To which she replies indifferently, "Sometimes." The boy hands her one, and the strangers drive away as Pinup says to the others, "It'll be easier next time." The two boys approach the house, where they discover the bloody bodies of Kristen, James, and Mike inside. One of the boys reaches out to Kristen's body and attempts to touch it. Kristen, still alive, grabs his hand and screams. Fade to black, roll credits, Finn. That's the end of the movie.
Which was so shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Non-ending endings.
Yeah. It'll be easier next time. Opening for a sequel.
I do think, honestly, I think that would be a better place to just end it than showing her, like, maybe alive, maybe not alive, you know what I mean?
And then she's screaming.
That's just one last jump scare is the reason they did that. It's cheap.
Yeah, like, okay, did you notice that they put her body next to the guy that had the shotgun?
No.
Like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I
you're
did.
right. Yeah, they did, you're right.
Yeah, and I was just like, is that, like, were they trying to set up a scene where, like, throw off the police? Saying it was like a love triangle because the ring and everything, and he came in the middle of the night.
It's a good theory.
That is a good
Yeah, and
theory.
like they beat up his truck and left it there.
True.
Looks like he rammed them. I don't know.
Okay, now for some trivia.
Ooh.
According to director Brian Bertino, the film is partially based on an incident he experienced as a child. One evening, a stranger came to his door, asked for someone who was not there, and left. Later, Bertino found out that the people who came and knocked on his door had robbed all the houses in the neighborhood where people had not been home.
Ooh.
Yes.
I knew that.
So it was because you weren't home instead of because you were home. During filming, in order to get an actual reaction from Liv Tyler, director Brian Bertino would tell her to expect a loud bang from one direction, but then he would have the loud noise come from a completely different direction.
Or it'd be like, Aerosmith sucks. She's like, ah!
How dare you? Liv said in an
To
interview.
trick her into acting good.
Yeah. Oh, that's terrible. They did.
They did. All right, so Liv Tyler in an interview for The Strangers, she said that she'd always loved horror films as a kid, but Texas Chainsaw Massacre freaked her out so bad with its realism that it kind of turned her off of horror films.
It's not that bad.
Well, I mean, it's not that bad by our standards. We have the knowledge of all the horror from now. Then this was her in the 80s watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
True. This is also when horror movies were making a really big, blanking on the word, appearance.
Yes. They were quite prevalent. But honestly, they've always been prevalent. The horror film shall never die.
I'll never die.
Yes. Okay. So, in an interview with James Corden, Kurt Russell, Goldie Hawn's longtime beau, star of John Carpenter's The Thing, and about a bajillion other things, said that this film.
Fucking love The Thing.
Me too.
Sorry.
He said that this film always scares him.
Huh.
What? This movie that we just watched?
Yes. The Stranger scares Kurt Russell. Interesting.
Come
No.
on, Kurt Russell.
I know, right? I know.
What?
Yeah. Also, in an incredibly interesting directing choice, this was filmed entirely on a Steadicam and in chronological order, which is quite rare.
Oh, so they filmed it all in like... Wow, that's weird.
I know. Nobody does that.
Yeah.
The song Mama Tried, which is heard several times during the film, is a 1968 hit by Merle Haggard and the Strangers. Ah?
Merle.
Ah?
Interesting.
And
Yeah.
wasn't Liv Tyler's dad a part of that band?
No.
He was a part of a band briefly before Aerosmith called the Strangers, but I don't think it's the same band.
Yes, that's not the same band.
Okay, so they do a fairly good job hiding it, but the interior of the house is a soundstage. It was designed to look like the inside of a 1970s family home, one that anyone could live in, because Brian Bertino wanted it to be more relatable. So many horror films have these elaborate homes and locations that you'd have to be insanely rich to live in.
True.
Okay, so before filming any scene after the Strangers begin terrorizing the couple, Liv Tyler would have to do jumping jacks and run laps and other physical activity to get herself out of breath to help simulate the panic her character would have to be experiencing.
Hold on, Liv Tyler?
Yeah.
Oh my god, she's that bad of an actress that she had to...
Apparently.
Oh,
Like, just imagine Liv running around a soundstage, desperately trying to seem panicked.
I would take like 3 steps and probably sound like that because of my asthma.
Oh, no.
Hey, win-win for you.
Exactly.
You can be an actress now. Hooray.
Fuck yeah.
You're better than Liv Tyler.
Oh my god, that sucks. I didn't know she was that bad.
Yeah, apparently. She seems so elegant in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, though.
She didn't have many words.
That's right. She just had to look ethereal and not speak much.
I talk in long sentences.
That's how she actually talks, too, by the way.
Aw.
Yeah. Okay, so the houses shown during the opening credits each resemble a famous house from various classic horror movies, such as Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, and the Amityville Horror.
Oh. I was like trying to look at references around. I couldn't like make any like discerning like, yeah, maybe this was because of this, but
The scene at the beginning, or not the beginning, the heightened scene when they start putting the axe through the door.
oh,
That's a callback to The Shining.
yeah.
Here's Johnny.
Absolutely.
She does
Such a good
scream,
movie.
but not
Huh?
that hardcore.
Yeah. All right, so that's all I got, guys.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like this movie. I got this movie for free from an old friend of mine who was a bootleg DVD salesman. So mine is a bootleg DVD. Hopefully it was the right version.
I looked it up. The unrated version only has a slightly longer scene towards the end where Liv Tyler dies. And it's just, instead of dying in the chair, she dies on the floor reaching for her cell phone, and then they just pick the phone up out of her reach and leave her to die.
Oh, well, they threw her phone in the fire.
I don't know what to tell you, Morgan.
What if his phone?
Yeah, none of it
They never
would make
took
sense.
Nick's phone out of his pocket. We never
Look,
seen that. So
Look,
even that.
there are quite a few inconsistencies and goofs in this film. For instance,
yeah.
like the ring box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the parking lot, it's black, but at the house, it's blue.
Yes.
Top goes from square to rounded.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, mistakes
they
were
went
made.
into one back room and he was like, yeah, go back to the bedroom. Your clothes are back there or something.
Yeah.
And she goes back to the bedroom. And then in the next scene, whenever she's running away from the people, it's the same room, but she went to the right instead of left.
Yeah. Mistakes were made.
Yeah, there's a lot of... Andrew and I rewound it too a few times. We're like, that's fucking wrong. That's wrong.
Yeah. Okay, so I liked this movie when I first saw it in theaters, but upon this rewatch, I'm like, this movie is not that good, and it's like all been done before.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
I didn't
Olivia?
mind it. It was pretty good.
All right.
I had it on DVD, I swear. Could not find it anywhere. Google told me it was on Amazon Prime, so I watched it on there, and I had smoked a little bit, and we live in a town with a lot of meth heads and crackheads. So I started like tripping out, thinking, these meth heads and crackheads were gonna break into my house. But other than that, it wasn't a bad movie.
I think maybe that heightened the experience for you.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, right?
Yeah, you'd have to pause it and look out the curtain on your, like, that made me so mad. I'm like, rip down the curtain. Like,
Well,
people are hiding behind it.
Yeah,
and
right?
my curtains were open, and I was watching out on the street, and I'm like, this is not good right now.
You know what I also thought? If this was me, this movie would not exist because I would have gone to the store to get cigarettes with bro dude. I would have bullied him into letting me, even though we were having a fight.
See,
Well,
that's
I
my
was
hubby
like,
said too.
you're not leaving me in this big house in the middle of nowhere alone. It's not
Yeah,
happening. I'm coming with you.
Especially after someone knocks on the door.
Yeah, also,
Yeah,
I might want
exactly.
snacks, okay? And you don't know what
Oh.
snacks I want.
Exactly.
See, and like, I don't even know if any of this movie would have ever happened if I was in it too, because if I said, if some guy like asked me to marry him, I mean, no, not Andrew, I'm already gonna marry him, but say some other dickhead that I used to, see like earlier, and they would ask me to marry him, I'd be like, are you fucking crazy? Like, I'm not going back with you. You can mail my clothes to me. I don't care. You can burn them. Like, I'm gonna find a ride out of here, or I'm gonna get a hotel room by myself. I'm not going back to his family house. That's weird.
Well, look, in their case, though, she clearly loved him. She just wasn't ready to marry him yet.
She wasn't in love with him until they were getting murdered. Just saying.
She wanted to keep her options open, all right?
Yeah, and then she was like, bad guy isn't so cool after all. Like, maybe.
So, we're gonna take a short break. Like a 5-10 minutes. So if anyone who needs to like pee or smoke or take a bite of something, go do that.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Take a 5. We'll be back.
Hi, Anastasia for Anchor Podcasts. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Who doesn't like that? Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
And we're back. Before Morgan gets started, we wanted to hear Kendra's opinion on The Strangers.
Okay. So I honestly thought it was pretty cheesy. I mean, I love cheesy horror movies, so I enjoyed it. I had never seen it before. I thought that I had, but I actually hadn't seen it until this past like Tuesday. And when I watched it, I actually watched both, the first and the second one. And the little bit of trivia that I know is that the beginning sequence of the second movie was actually supposed to be Liv Tyler in it, but then it got botched.
Ah.
What?
Yeah.
So was she the murderer? Is supposed to be the murderer in the second one, or was she supposed to be the victim again?
The first kill in the second movie was supposed to be her.
Oh, damn.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Fun.
Fun facts.
Yeah.
We love fun facts on Blood, Guts, and Booze.
Oh, yeah.
We love fun facts on horror versus reality too.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
Fucking
do.
fun
are my
facts overall.
What?
Said fun facts are my favorite.
Yeah. All right, Mo, take her away.
All right. So this is definitely loosely based on this crime. And the Ketty murders, I don't know if our listeners are familiar with the Ketty cabin murders, but this is still an unsolved quadruple murder that took place in 1981 in Northern California in a small former resort town of Ketty, which is it sits on the foothills of the California Sierra Nevada. This was like a huge case back in the day. I wasn't alive, so I don't remember it. But apparently it scared so many people so bad in California that like it is mostly a former resort town because of this murder. After this, yeah, like people didn't lock their doors before all this happened. And then they're like, yeah, you know, murders never happen in this town. And then it was a horrible, like a horrific murder that has haunted the town since, 1981. And it is unsolved. And people think that this family that was murdered, including one of the, we'll get into it, but another family member, like another friend. So everyone thought that they knew them, and that made so many people scared. And it's a really small town. So we'll start, I guess, with the day after the crime. On April 12th, 1981, one of the victim's daughters, they had like 5 kids, but the victim's daughter, Sheila, she was 14 at the time. She was staying at a nearby cabin in this little remote area where cabins were, and it was known as Cabin 28. She had stayed the night at her friend's house and was coming back early next morning, and she opened the door to discover the bodies of Sue, John, and Dana, who was her mom, one of her brothers, and her brother's friend. And she immediately dropped everything at the door. She said in an interview with People magazine that she couldn't tell who was who. She just saw blood everywhere. And she thought the killer was still in there. So she took off running, dropped everything at the door, ran to the next cabin where she was staying that night, and where Dana, one of the victims, that was his family's cabin. She ran in there. One of the older sons of the family next door came over, thought that the killer may still be in there. So he went around the side of the house to look into the windows, and he said he could see people covered in blood on the floor. So he went around the back of the cabin where Greg and Rick Sharp, who were 10 and 5, they were the victims' sons, and Justin, a 12-year-old family friend, were sleeping in their bunk beds in the back room. And he actually woke them up from the window and had them climb through the window to get out. And they called 911. And when this happened, it was such a small town that they called his brother, or her brother, the woman who was murdered, Sue. They called her brother. He came over with the police, and everybody just like ran inside the cabin, which a lot of the crime scene and everything, they weren't used to this. They didn't know what the fuck happened. And they said they only had like one murder, maybe like every like 5 years or something. So the small police force like didn't know how to deal with it. And it kind of screwed up the crime scene. And I mean, it was brutal, and a lot of people, have suffered for a long time with what they saw in there. But Sue, who Her real name was Glenna Sharp. She was known as Sue by her friends and family. She had recently left her husband after he was abusive. He would beat her and molest her and one of the other daughters. So
Yeah,
whenever
he was a great guy.
Yeah, he was a fucking good guy. Yeah, right.
Mm.
It was around this time that they were like surveying the crime scene that they didn't even realize that Tina, another daughter, who was 12 at the time, they did not realize she was missing. Because everybody was such in a panic, and then they're like, wait, where is she at? So they had dogs. They ended up calling in the FBI after this, saying, hey, we have a missing child, could be victim of a murder, could be, kidnapped. So they had the FBI involved, and the state police at this point, because it was just the small town of Ketty police that had arrived on scene first. So then they got the FBI involved. They got dogs. They got search parties. Could not find her. They posted up missing posters around the town. They were interviewing anyone and everybody in this town. I don't remember how many people were in it. I think it was like less than 1,000. It may have been like 2,000 at this point.
Yeah, it was super small.
It was like really small, and these cabins were like tucked into the woods. It was just like a cabin you can rent out, and it was cheap, so that's where her family stayed. So they had no idea where to start. Like, this family had just moved here, but Sue was very outgoing and really loved her kids. So she did have a lot of friends, even though they had only been there a few months, I think, at this point, since she had so many kids too. Hold on. How many did she have? 1, 2,
5?
3. I think it was 5 total kids.
Ooh, someone's busy.
Yeah. Yeah, with a piece of shit ex-husband.
He just couldn't leave her alone.
Yeah.
No, what you don't understand is that's what my grandmother said to my great-grandmother when she asked my grandmother why they had so many kids. My grandmother looked at my great-grandmother and said, because your son won't leave me alone.
Oh my God.
My grandma's the best.
I can imagine like the dead silent, like forks hitting the plate.
Oh my God. And my great-grandmother was like one of those women who believed that children should be seen and not heard and was super strict. So I can imagine that went over super well.
That's fucking great.
Yeah.
Your mom's a bomb ass bitch.
Yeah, she is.
So back to where'd I leave off?
Sorry.
Oh, that she had so many kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she had tried to make it work with her husband, and it just wasn't working, and he was molesting Tina and molesting the other daughter. I don't remember her name. I'll just say the other daughter. She is very vocal, by the way. She's done a lot of interviews. She's still seeking justice for her family, so I'll not name her here, but if you want to look her up, you can look her up. I'm just not going to name her. Or the other one that survived. So
Sheila's the one who survived.
Oh, well, you just named her.
Sorry, Sheila.
Maybe I named her in the beginning, but yeah, I mean, she's very vocal. She does a lot of interviews. Because, I mean, what has it been, like 40 years? 41 years? 40?
Yeah, 40 years.
Yeah, 40 years since this crime has taken place, and they never found the killer or killers. So whenever Sheila looked inside, she couldn't figure out what she was looking at. There was so much blood. There were bodies laying on the floor, all like near each other. She just knew that they were not breathing and they were probably dead, and those were her family members. So whenever the police came in, they described it as like one of the most horrific scenes they had ever seen. A lot of them, I know a couple of them like quit policing after this.
Yeah, it devastated them.
Yeah, like it's a young family, like the other victims. So Sue was in her 40s, I think, and John was 15, and his friend Dana Wingate, who's the family that the other girl was staying with, he was 17. And the other kids were like 5 and 8, I believe, and I don't remember the 14-year-old friend. So they all survived. They actually they were concerned because they were like, how did these boys sleep through this without waking up?
Right.
So they ended up hypnotizing one of them, Justin, who was the friend.
Right.
They ended up hypnotizing him because he said, I think I may have seen something. And they said he had this dream. They all were watching Love Boat the night before, and he dreamed they were all on the Love Boat, and when a man came up and started stabbing Sue in the chest, and then somebody came in and saved them, and they got away on a life preserver or something. So one of the police artists like did a composite sketch of the two suspects that was based on what Justin had claimed that he saw in this dream. And one of them looked eerily similar to his stepfather.
Can I just say that the sketch that they did too was complete bullshit because they used like a half-ass sketch artist to do it when they had access to the top FBI sketch artists.
It looked like a child drew it.
Yeah.
Because it was just a random dude that did it, and it wasn't like a top line when they had the FBI willing to do it.
Yeah. And it was like one of the detectives, right?
It was just a random guy that kind of helped their police department sometimes.
Oh my god. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah. So back to the point where they fucked up a lot of this case. And
Oh yeah.
I hate to blame it on them, but I'm like, dude, you fucking hypnotized a little kid. Like, this was the thing, I guess. I thought that the hypnotizing thing was back in the 70s. I mean, this is 81.
As Mark would always say, the early part of a decade is really just layover from the last decade.
Yeah, true. The first couple years. Yeah, so if you look on the Wikipedia page for the Getty murders, you can see one of the sketches, or the sketch done. Very crude, very, very crude. And one of them looks like Bumblebutt. What's his name?
Oh, Ed Kemper.
Yeah, the one on
Old
the right
Bumblebutt.
looks like Ed Kemper. It looks like Ed Kemper.
Yeah.
But they were actually like kind of, the one to the left kind of resembles this kid's stepfather, who was very abusive. He was a Vietnam War veteran, and he had severe PTSD. He beat his wife and his kids regularly. Definitely took it out on Justin more than the other ones. And he had actually attempted to kill Justin and his mom by trying to run over him with a car. And he had spent time, it's fucked up. He went to a mental health facility at the VA and stayed there for like a couple of months. And he actually made a friend. Don't make friends in that situation. You know, I'm just saying, like, just
Yeah,
I've
don't
seen
make
it
friends
happen.
in like rehab or anger management.
Yeah, just
be
don't
friends with
do
them.
it. Like, you can grow with them and, you know, grow out of them. You don't keep them. They may help you through this one point in life, but don't keep the relationship up, because
You'll probably just trigger each other, though. You know.
yeah, exactly. Like, what
Mhm.
is sadness loves sadness or something? I don't know.
That's
Yeah.
how I live my life.
Misery loves misery.
Misery loves company.
That's it.
Make friends when you want to, okay?
Yeah, just leave it at the door.
Mhm.
I don't need
So-
to go there, but I go there just to make friends.
No.
How I met Lydia.
Yeah, like, so this guy, what is his name? Martin Smart was was the neighbor and the main suspect. And he had made a friend with, what is his fucking name? Baba? Berber?
Weird name.
I'm blanking out, but I think I wrote it down wrong. I think I wrote Booba. Is that right? Booba?
Booba?
Mike Booba? What is his fucking name? I'm like trying to go back.
Edit this. Find it.
Boobetti?
Booba. I remember
John Boobetti.
Booba. Is that it? Did you look it up?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's John Boobetti.
Boobatti.
Bou, B as in boy, E,
Yeah.
D as in dog, E, Boobetti. Balbity.
Boobette.
Ooh, Balbity.
Boobette.
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 Is it French?
I don't know. I mean, maybe you have to pronounce it like that.
Boobette. Okay. John Boobette. So they had met
right.
each other at this mental health facility at the VA and became fast friends. John Boubette had a lengthy and violent criminal history, and he was a bank robber and one of Chicago's candy bandits.
That's fucking hilarious.
I know. I don't know if they stole candy. I don't. So stupid. How can you get a nickname like Candy Bandits and sound like a badass?
Stealing candy from babies.
Man, I like to steal candy from babies. Hey, baby, get out of here. That's my candy. Yeah.
See?
Man, see, I got the candy from a baby. Yeah, I don't know what this is, and when you Google it, it turns into a series, and they were like a group of kids, and they often stole candy from vending machines. So I don't know if that's what they did, or if they were just called the Candy Bandits because they were young-faced children robbing banks. I don't know, but
I don't know, but that's fantastic.
I bet it was like the newspaper man was like, man, let's call them the Candy Bandits. And then they're like, hey, you can't call us that. We're like men. And then they're like, haha, you just admitted to robbing a bank.
Oh my god, I just found a copy of the New York Times from 1910 that says, Candy Bandit sentenced. Rodas, who killed 2 Chicago men and robbed 100, gets life term.
What?
Huh.
So there's been multiple Candy Bandits?
I guess so. I'm not gonna pay them money to get behind the paywall, but that's the headline.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, Candy Bandits sentenced. Yeah, so I don't fucking know what that is. If anyone wants to write in, we barely get emails. Come on, people, send us emails.
Yeah, that's horror versus reality at gmail.com.
Yeah, we're gonna start having to pay for Gmail. No, I'm just kidding. Please don't charge anybody for Gmail ever. Take that shit for granted.
Great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we do. It's
We're
free.
with it for the rest of us.
Yeah, right? I don't want to pay for it. So Boo-Betty, Boobette, was a candy bandit, and he had gotten out of the mental health facility and actually moved in with the family next door. He was also violent. He was a weirdo, as people would say. So they were the main two suspects, but according to the police, they had a good alibi. But John Boubate, whatever, Boubate, he was associated with the mob. He also had like been acting really weird at a lot of the questioning things. And then he kept saying, well, I can't be a part of it. I suffer from impotence, and was saying he couldn't get his dick hard or whatever. Like, oh yeah,
no.
I wouldn't be able to murder people because I don't get my dick hard. And like that's they're like,
that's-
oh.
That's not a good defense, sir.
Yeah, but apparently to these police, they're like, oh, makes sense. Yeah, makes sense.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, fucking totally makes sense.
You're totally innocent. Got it.
Yeah, he's got a small flaccid penis. Yeah, he's good. So, and he also lied about being like a former cop and had a fake ID when they were questioning him. He gave like the wrong ID. And they chalked it up to him being like a mental health patient, I guess. Like, oh, maybe he's just a little cray. And they let him go. And he ended up like fleeing and going back to Chicago. I think he ended up like murdered. I don't remember what happened to him. But then Smart was also allowed to leave, and he actually like fled town and dipped out too. Like those are two big red flags. I think they did it.
Yeah, me too. I
It's
also
a little
think they did it.
suspicious. It's a little suspicious.
Yeah, but there was also the point of Tina being missing. They were thinking, well, maybe Tina was the center point to this crime. And maybe her being kidnapped was because the person wanted to kill everybody around her, kidnap her, you know. So they started looking into people in Tina's life as well. And this was, it was discovered later that one of her teachers, Robert Silveria, he was around at that time. He was in the campsite at one of the bars, and a lot of people had said he was like creepy. And he was also, he became later a registered sex offender. Whenever they looked into him, they realized he had like this weird fascination with her. And he had one of her pictures on his desk and one of her pictures in his house, like on his mantle.
That's not creepy at all.
Yeah, it was really fucking weird. And it's such a fucking sad in this girl's life. She got like, what?
I said that's extremely creepy.
Yeah, like what the fuck? He had him like framed on his desk and then like on his mantle. And it,
I don't know how those got there, officer.
yeah, like oh yeah, no, I just you know, she gave it to me, so I couldn't put it away. That's rude.
No, didn't you know she's a stock photo model?
Yeah. I bought this at the Dollar Tree.
Yup.
No, but I feel so bad for fucking Tina. Like, Tina was such a cute little girl. She got molested by her dad. And then her English teacher was a fucking creepo who had pictures of her everywhere. He probably, was trying to do something with her at this point. And then, like, she ends up fucking dead. And it's like, that sucks. What a shitty fucking child's life. Like, she was a cool little girl. But anyway, Robert Robert Silveria.
Please say names good.
Yeah, no. We read good and stuff. So he was a suspect at all. I mean, sorry, her teacher was a suspect. Robert Silveria is a different suspect. I misnamed him. The teacher became a registered sex offender, ended up leaving out of the town, I think before her body or her head was found. But there was also Robert Silveria. He was around here at this time, and he even worked for the county they died in. And he actually was later linked to a murder known as the boxcar killings. And he was actually sentenced. He was also known as the boxcar killer. And he would go around and kill homeless people in the area.
Did he also murder the boxcar children? Couldn't resist.
Yes, that's why that series ended very dark. I wanted to run away, but there were like boxcars like in my hometown that were like, abandoned. I'm like, I would not want to run away there. I would rather want to run away in like the woods because they were fucking shady. They're like, you don't want to sleep in a boxcar if you're a kid. Just saying.
I thought they were like orphans.
Well, their parents died in a car wreck or something, and they didn't want to go live with their families. So they're all orphans, and they all ran away and lived in the... At least that's what I remember. I'm sorry if I'm getting...
Yeah, me too. I mean, I haven't read one of those books in, oh gosh, probably at least 25 years.
I read all of them.
Really?
I had the whole series.
Very nice. I don't know how many I read. I read a few of them for sure.
Always wanted that sibling, like, togetherness, but my brothers were like dicks and would always be like, we're gonna beat the shit out of you and stuff. So
oh no.
Yeah.
I'm like, twisted my ankle, and they're like, yeah, you're a little bitch.
See, I was the opposite because I'm the older sister and I have a little brother.
I mean, it made me stronger, I guess, but at the same time, I'd be like, well, my brother should protect me, and they're like the ones beating me up and bullying me.
I'm the youngest of 4, and like my brother's 15, or he was. My brother's 15 years older. My eldest sister is 13 years older, and then my middle sister is 5 years older. So we didn't really have the same like sibling dynamic that a lot of siblings do because we're not close in age.
Yeah, you had like the skip generation or whatever.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm 6 years older.
Yeah, well, like my 13-year-old, my sister that's 13 years older was almost like a second mom in some ways.
Yeah. Yeah,
like, I'll talk to her before I'll talk to my mom about certain things.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be fair if she, like, beat the shit out of you, because she's got, like, age, strength. It would be kind of messed up if she beat you up.
That would be messed up, but if I crossed her, she might.
My stepbrother and I are only 5 months apart, so we're like 2 years in age.
How?
Stepbrother?
Because he's my stepbrother.
Oh,
Morgan.
I was like, who was the preemie? I'm an idiot. That makes
Hello?
Anyway,
All of you disappeared after that. Where did you go?
Oh,
Hello?
no.
we're
In
here.
ears.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Okay.
Hi. Technical difficulties. Oh, okay. So there was the neighbor's husband. There was the neighbor's crazy friend. There was the teacher. There was whatever his fucking face is, boxcar kid killer. And then there was also the owner of the like campsite. Apparently he also was a child molester. I want to like, go into all my friends' stuff and like just see like, are you a child molester? Like, who would be the creepy guy? I don't think I would know anybody, but like, maybe I should start Googling people's names.
Oh my God. What did I ever tell you? When I was in high school, maybe freshman year of college, I was just doing a Google of the sex offenders in my area.
Yeah.
Just
like,
to know where they are, Yeah. And I discovered that one of my friend's fathers was on the sex offender list.
Oh, no.
My God.
Yep.
Fuck.
So that was
I
cool.
know on it too, sadly. But in Canada, you can't just view it.
You can't view it?
No.
We don't believe in their rights here in America.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm pretty sure that if like a sex offender moves into your neighborhood, they have to physically go up to like your house and tell you they're a sex offender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Not in Canada, they don't.
Oh, not in Canada? Yeah,
they
see,
do
clearly
here.
I know what I'm talking about.
They do here.
Yeah, they have to do it here. They have to like go up to houses and they have to like be a certain amount of like feet or yards or whatever away from living to a school. Which is weird to me because a lot of the schools, I don't know, around Virginia, a lot of the schools are surrounded by like trees. So there's this like zone that is considered not part of the school grounds. So that zone actually counts into the feet. So they could actually have their houses back up to the forest, which leads to like track and field. I'm like, that's fucking creepy.
Well, that's true. They could just like lay on their belly and wait for a jogger to come by.
Yeah, I did like watchdog all around my house because the last place we lived, we had 2 elementary schools like right next to us. And there were so many fucking child molesters. And they were like little kid diddlers. And I'm like, dude, like, but they count because in the city limits, it's only like 20 yards from the school or 50 yards, which is a small amount.
That's insanely small.
Yeah, it's like yards. It's not, I don't know what that is in meters. Sorry, you guys go by metric, right?
So a meter is only is 3 yard, or no, is a yard and 3 inches.
Oh wow. So 50 yards for us would be like it's 55. I can't math.
I think so. Probably, roughly.
Just saying, you guys should learn the metric system.
I know
I'll
the metric
have you
in
know.
liquids and weight, but not.
Or if the world uses metric, then yours.
I'll have you know, I was 10th in the nation in Science Olympiad metric estimation in junior high school.
You will never lose down.
Does that mean that you just estimate what the metric system does?
No, it means I can look at something and estimate what it would be in metric.
Oh, okay.
Like I could look at a pencil and be like, that's however many centimeters just by guessing or whatever, eyeballing it.
Like, I'm part European.
I do use American for some things, like when we're discussing like our height and weight, we use American.
Because
We imperial,
stone's
because we're
ridiculous.
imperialists.
Imperial, that's what it is. I just call it American.
See, I
It's
used
like
to work. Oops, sorry, go, Kendra.
I was gonna say, it's like how you guys finish your alphabet and you say Z instead of Z like the rest of the fucking world.
Hey, I say
Oh
Z
my God.
It's only
Yes.
America that does that.
Really?
and Olivia.
No, I believe
not a true
Liberia
Canadian.
does as well.
What?
I believe Liberia does as well.
Is that the one whose flag looks like yours?
That is
No,
so weird.
Liberia is the country where we charted all our recently freed slaves off to.
Yeah, it does look like our flag. Liberia.
Does it? A little bit, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's just one star and stripes.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't hear what she said exactly.
Oh. Hold on.
Misheard
What about
you.
slaves?
Huh?
What'd you say about slaves in Liberia?
Okay, so the reason why Liberia even exists is basically America sent that designated that piece of land to former slaves after they got freed. Basically, like, hey, you're free now, but we don't want you here, so go back to Africa, even though you've never been there in your life.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, it's great. And then it set up a super repressive system there where the American blacks that had just moved there decided that they were better than the natives and started repressing them.
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
That's just so.
It's really sad and fucked up.
God, I didn't even know this.
Dude, I could talk about Liberia all day.
These are not fun facts, guys.
They are not.
Fun fact.
Not fun facts. Okay,
All facts are fun facts.
back to not nice facts, I guess. So whenever they were like, okay, we've exhausted all of our suspects and we don't have any leads because we fucked up our crime scene, let's go back and look at Sue's life. And like poor Sue, like she died. They all died horrific deaths. Like they were found tied up with electrical tape and medical tape with their feet behind their backs. They were stabbed repeatedly, especially Sue and Dana. They were stabbed like multiple times in the chest and the back. And Sue was found nude from the waist down. She was gagged with a blue bandana and her own panties, and then there was tape over her mouth. She had been stabbed in the chest. Her throat was slashed. It went so deep that it went through her larynx into her spine. And then on the side of her head, there was an imprint of a BB gun, like the bottom of a BB gun. John, her son, his throat was slashed. And then, oh yeah, Dana wasn't stabbed. He was beat. He had multiple head injuries, and he had been strangled to death by hands. All of them had been bludgeoned with a hammer. They only found one hammer and a bent knife. And they said that Sue and John had died from the knife wounds and the blunt force trauma, and then Dana actually died by being choked to death manually.
I love that when Smart was questioned by police, he made sure to quickly be like, so I had a hammer that I don't know where it is. I can't find it. I think it may have been stolen.
Yeah. Like all the shit points to them, but they never could link. I don't know how they couldn't link it. Like they could have. I don't know. I don't know if it was like a misuse of DNA. I don't remember what happened with the DNA, but with the knife, you would think that someone stabbing that much, like their hand would eventually slip on the knife, and that's how a lot of murders are caught. Because their hand slips off, and the knife was broken and bent at like a 25-degree angle. So the killer had to like nicked himself at least once. Because with all that blood and all that force, like, your hand will eventually slip off of it and you'll slice yourself. Just like in the fucking movie. She fucking immediately cut herself with that knife.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking idiot.
What if they were wearing gloves?
Ooh.
I mean,
But
they could
it-
have.
Yeah.
Whether they
'Cause,
were
like-
wearing... Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, don't like leather gloves. Isn't that what most people use?
I mean, that's how all the killers
Most-
kill in the Italian giallos, but the reality seems a bit different.
When I murder my victims, I always use leather gloves.
As you can tell, I clearly do the paranormal part of our podcast. So
Yes, I'm the murderer one.
You do the murder side, do the aliens. So do you think this was aliens?
obviously,
No.
it's always aliens.
Never aliens, Olivia, ever.
You know, I actually thought I saw a UFO the other day driving home from work. Then I was like, no, that's an airplane. And I got even closer and I'm like, no, that's a UFO. And I'm talking text into Nick through my phone. And then I'm like, you know what? No, it's actually just an airplane. He's like, what the
But-
fuck?
But technically, you did see a UFO.
Well,
you know.
yeah, it was unidentified to me at the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
saw a UFO until you identified it as otherwise.
I mean, that's the thing
Oh,
about UFOs. They don't mean aliens. They just mean an
Oh,
unidentified
exactly.
object.
Exactly.
And
But
as soon as even if you got like an alien UFO, then it's not technically a UFO anymore because it's identified.
true.
True.
Wow.
Mind blown.
Blind going facts over here, yeah.
Fucking aliens! So yeah, oh, poor Tina. Tina, they searched for Tina for a long time.
They did. They did.
They only ever found her skull, or part of her skull, and part of her mandible, which was about 100 miles from Ketty. And they said it was 3 years afterwards, and they think that the time period, like, she died right after everybody else was killed. They weren't ever able to determine what killed her, but they did find her jacket, a blanket, a pair of jeans, and surgical tape, the one that was found at the crime scene. So they think whoever it was kidnapped Tina, brought her into the woods, did whatever, and left her there after they murdered her. So, never found her body. They've never named anybody as a murderer, but they do have the potential suspects. They really thought back in like the 90s that the boxcar killer did it, but you know, it's not for certain. The house or the cabin where cabin 28 was is now just a blank area with big trees that have grown in. They demolished it in 2004. And there's been like plenty of documentaries and a movie, and then this movie that we watched was based on this, or inspired by this, I
It was
guess.
also inspired by the Manson family killings.
So I actually saw, like, you know, at the very end when it's like the guy's laying dead in the chair and that table is flipped over on its side.
Yeah.
That reminded me of, what was it, the McDonald killing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Jeffrey McDonald, because they literally got him because they were like, oh, this is staged. That table should have flipped on its top, not its side.
Yeah.
Which was a stupid fucking thing. If you push a table with enough force, even flip it, it can still land on its side and slide. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that scene, like with the table flipped over and then the stuff on the floor, that really looked like that crime scene, which was also like supposedly a Manson family murder or Manson ripoff murder.
Yeah, right.
I have 2 points. Okay,
Okay.
so one, the whole discovery of Tina, there was actually like a really suspicious thing that happened where they got an anonymous phone call right after they discovered the discovery of her body. And on the phone call, like the anonymous phone call, the person said that it was of Tina, that's whose body it was before they knew who it was.
That's
And
true.
then yeah, and then the recording of the call was just like randomly found at the bottom of an evidence box at some point, like way later on,
What the fuck?
which was like super strange. Yeah. And then the other thing is like, because I watched both movies, so I found that the first one was a lot more like the Manson murders, and that the second one was a lot more like the Ketty murders.
Oh.
Good to know.
Yeah, I haven't watched
Yeah.
the second one.
That is true. That is true because they are like in a cabin setting in the second one.
Yeah, they're in a trailer park.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like it.
And
I'll
it's
check it.
a family that's murdered, so it's a lot more like the second movie to me.
Good to know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just my
they,
random.
yeah, they think that. I mean, there were so many fucking rumors that went around about Sue saying she was involved in like drug trafficking. Somebody's LSD was stolen and they blamed Sue and like
That she was having an affair with Martin.
yeah, she was having an affair, and then they also said she was a prostitute and all this stuff. And it's like they drug that woman's name through the mud.
They did.
And like they were just looking at like, oh yeah, she's a woman. She left her husband with all these kids. She's gotta be a, like they just really,
She's a floozy.
yeah, they just really fucked up this whole case. So, I mean, they think that they knew the murder, which would make sense if it was the boxcar murder. And the reason why they think they knew this murder is because the kids were killed differently too. And the two, Sue and John, were like brutally fucking murdered with all the stab wounds, which is like overkill. And they all had defensive wounds except for Sue. So they think John and Dana like walked in on something happening to Sue.
Probably, yes.
Yeah, and she was known not to be interested in men because she was like really wanting to, take care of her kids and focus on that. And she had turned a lot of men down. So people were thinking, well, maybe it was one of her alleged suitors or someone who wanted to date her that like got mad. But we don't know.
Yeah, because after they killed her, they put a blanket over her, which indicates remorse.
Yeah, like they didn't want to look at her face.
Yeah. So, we're gonna skip ahead to the portion of, what are we doing? What have we done this week that we watched? Have you eaten any good food? How have you been entertained?
I'm currently drinking an ice cap from Tim Hortons.
Woo!
Oh, that's like the blood of Canada.
Yeah, it is. It's basically blended cream and coffee and ice, like a slushy, coffee slushy almost.
What's it called?
An ice cap,
An ice cap.
like ice cappuccino, but they shorten it to ice cap.
Oh.
Oh, it sounds good.
I want one.
They're delicious. I'm on like my third one today.
Oh, Speedy Gonzalez over there.
Oh my
Ice cap addiction.
All right. Morgan, have you watched anything good since we last spoke on the pod?
Yeah, actually. And I just fucking blanked out on the name and I'm trying to Google it.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's the one you recommended like 5 episodes back where the guy gets abducted by aliens, and he's a junkie in
Fried
South
berry?
Africa.
Fried
What?
berry?
Yes, Fried Berry. Oh my god, I love that movie.
Wasn't it great?
I absolutely love that movie. It's so fucking great. Like there's so much shit to unpack.
Yeah. I
It's
like
so
how
great.
the alien in his body, like, is almost a better dad.
Yeah, I know he's like a good guy. He like wants to help people, and he's a better dad. Even though he's like, yeah, I'll do the drugs.
Yeah, I'll fuck whoever. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like an alien Rumspringa almost. He's just experiencing everything.
He's like, what does my dick do? Okay. Oh, that feels good.
Oh, now I know.
Yeah,
The best
I
part
watch-
is when that woman takes him home from the bar, and then she's fucking him, and then she's like, at least make some noise, and then he just goes,
yeah, it's so funny. And then
Because-
later in the movie, you can hear him again when he's having sex, and he's like, ah. It's so good. I highly recommend it. It's on Shudder. You can stream it on Shudder. It's really, really great.
Yeah, Fried Berry.
Yeah, there's some good stuff on Shudder.
Yeah, I fucking love Shudder. So I watched. What did I watch? Oh, I watched the season premiere of Rick and Morty yesterday.
I watched that too.
Yeah. It's a pretty good episode, but Mark's friend Justin said it was trash and he was really let down. But Mark and I enjoyed it. It was entertaining. I mean, it's not peak Rick and Morty, but it wasn't bad by any means.
Yeah, I like when he's like, fight, fuck, flee.
Yeah, we're not gonna spoil anything
Oh,
though,
yeah.
because Rick and Morty fans are vicious.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I also watched Oh, I watched Clarkson's Farm on Amazon.
What?
Okay, so you know Jeremy Clarkson from Grand Tour and Top Gear, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Clarkson bought a farm like years ago and has had some other farmer farming it, right? Well, that farmer retired, and at the end of 2019 or the middle of 2019, he decided he was going to start doing that for himself. And Amazon was like, "We're going to film this." And it's great. It has the feel of like Top Gear, but without, or it has the feel of like the Grand Tour without Hammond and May. It's just Clarkson. But there's some genuine moment. You get to see far more emotion out of him than you do anywhere else. Like, he cries when some of his lambs get slaughtered before he got to say goodbye.
Aww.
It's like really heartwarming and entertaining. I highly recommend it. Clarkson's Farm.
I will write it down. I still have the list of the movies that you gave me when we were chatting like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, good. Those are all straight bangers. Even though no one calls movies bangers.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of sausages.
You know what? They are the equivalent of bangers in movie form. They're, meaty and delicious. There's a little bit of juice. Did Kendra go to put her child to bed, or is she still here?
I think she's still here.
Kendra, have you watched anything good today or this week? I think she's gone.
Oh,
I think she has left us.
I'm not sure.
I mean, if she did, it's cool. We fully prepared for that. But yeah. All right. Well, so next episode is kind of still up in the air. It might be about Bordertown. I haven't gotten back with MK to find out if we're for sure doing that next. So it might be something. We'll throw something together for July. I don't know when it'll come out. You know how we roll, guys. So we look forward to seeing you next time, right? Anybody have anything else to throw in?
Thank you for allowing us on your podcast.
Yes.
And
Please promote your podcast.
yes. So, well, we're Blood, Guts, and Booze. We're a Canadian podcast about paranormal and true crime. We have new episodes every Sunday. We also have listener stories, which are every other month, and we are starting a Canadian paranormal and true crime based only series. So they're only Canadian. I mean, everyone can listen. It's just the topic is Canadian. That's starting July 1st. And, you know, we're really excited to have you guys as a guest on our show, too.
Hell yeah. Oh, we're going to be a guest?
We are going to be a guest. We've got to,
yeah.
you know, we've got to line up all the schedules, but we're going to do it, Morgan.
Yes. Yeah, it's, I'm really excited. I know Kendra is, too, so...
Morgan just found this out. I actually hadn't told her yet.
I was gonna say she seemed pretty surprised.
Yeah,
She
this
was
is
excited.
nice.
I hadn't
I'm like,
mentioned
whoa.
that to her yet.
We're going to be guests?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I got to get my
And
stage voice.
I
on.
already know what case I'm gonna cover. I don't know about Kendra, but I already know. Gave me the idea the other day, so.
So you can't tell us yet, right? Because she has to
No.
be here.
No, we'll keep it a surprise so everyone can tune in and listen there too.
Oh, I'm excited.
Didn't I pick out a case for us to talk about?
We were talking about it. I think it was yesterday.
Don't say
I don't
anything,
know.
Anna.
The
I like
days-
surprises.
The days
Yes.
all like blur together. I'll have to go back through the messenger chat to find it. Kendra's typing.
I'm so excited.
Oh, she thinks her internet gave out.
Oh.
Oh, man.
Well, tell her that you know, she can type whatever she wants to for us to say for her, or you know, or we're just gonna end it. But we love you, Kendra. We're sorry you might have dropped out.
Thank you for being a part of our show, even though your internet fucking sucks. I'm just
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the same service provider, and it is one of the biggest in Canada, but it is also one of the shittiest in Canada.
Hey, just like in
so-
America.
Just like America, yeah.
Yeah. I'm
not
pretty
gonna
sure ours
name-
is like the equivalent to like one of your biggest service providers.
Like
That's
Comcast.
I was actually gonna say like AT&T, but